In Hollywood, a professional screenplay has a particular format that is considered industry standard. In the video game industry, the equivalent, the Game Design Document, or GDD, is a much looser template that so far has no industry standard. That said, there are still some core elements that no matter how the document is structured, every game design document should have. Remember, these are just examples to help give an idea of what goes into a typical game design document. That said, every GDD is unique. The most important thing is to document the development of a game in enough detail that everyone is on the same page and has the same vision of what the game will be, especially early on. Hey, let's make a video game. Let's set it in space. No, a volcano. Now, we need some allies, some monsters, mechanics. How about some music? Another mechanic. Storyboards, more mechanics, concept art. We haven't even yet started talking about target audience, programming language, content ratings. It all starts to become a bit overwhelming. We start to lose track of things. Where is this game set again? The ocean? It starts to feel like we're drowning. As we can see, video game development has a lot going on. Game designers, artists, programmers, all working together and separately toward the same goals. But without documentation of these goals, we greatly increase our chance of making mistakes. Or even simply not having everyone seeing the same vision for the game. That is why a game design document is so crucial to successful video game development. In this module, we're going to take a close look at different methods of documenting game development. Our first topic will be core elements of a game design document, where we will delve into the elements of a standard GDD. Then we will look at variations on the GDD structure to see how different templates can work for different styles of games. Finally, we'll conclude with a brief look at a technical design document to fully flesh out and understand the advantages of documentation in video game development. Okay, the first consideration for our GDD is the game concept. This will describe what our game is in very brief terms. This section does not have to lay out much in the way of gameplay or mechanics. That will come later. For now, the idea is to create excitement over the general theme and concept of the game. So we will decide the basic setting and the type of gameplay we will be developing. In our next section, we will identify the platforms the game will be playable on. In our example of Tempered Steel, since we are making a browser-based web game, we chose our platforms as PCs and smart devices. Moving on, our next section is where we will discuss the game genre. Keep in mind, many games may cross over into more than one genre. For example, Tempered Steel has elements of both MMO and strategy genres. Now we come to everyone's favorite part of the GDD, the core gameplay section. This is where we will discuss the mechanics and gameplay of our game. At first, we don't need a complete and final list of our mechanics. For now, is enough just to give a few elements of gameplay to get us started. As we continue to develop our game, this section will become more and more detailed and full. Overall, this is where we will refer to details on combat, exploration, puzzles, and all other gameplay components. Now we move on to the visual style section. Here we will describe what the game will look like. If we are not yet sure what it will look like, we can begin to break down our concept's most obvious environments to get us started. So even if we don't have any illustrations yet, we can begin to describe what we want our game to look like with text. At this stage, this can be very simple. For example, in Tempered Steel, we list out natural terrain, human constructions, unnatural terrain, characters, and items in the game. Next, we come to our character section. Here we will have detailed descriptions of all the game's characters, including the personality quirks and physical descriptions. Even games that are not story-based can have characters. Pac-Man is a character. So is the ship in Asteroids. You don't need novel-like backstories describing characters, but keep in mind some description is better than none. For other games, like RPGs, characters will be much more detailed. As with characters, it can be quite surprising how much story even simple games have. The story section is where we will detail our plot, any scripted sequences, and any cinematics or cutscenes that will be in the game. So the last section we're going to discuss for our GDD is the sound section. Now, even with only a basic concept of our game, we should be able to start imagining some of the sounds. For example, in Tempered Steel, we know we're going to want a world theme, which is going to be background music. We're going to want a combat theme for when armies clash on the field of battle. We're going to want sound effects for the swords and shields and horses on that field of battle. We might want a marketplace theme. And we definitely want a messenger ping sound effect for our messenger boards.